Man has not always lived among the stars. There was a time, many centuries ago, when the race called humans lived only on one small blue planet. It is there, on the planet they call Earth, that our story begins. In the closing years of the 20th century, mankind began its greatest adventure, the exploration and eventual colonization of space. The development of fusion energy, which converts any matter into energy, allowed humans, for the first time, to venture out into the uncharted depths of space. The gigantic ship, which carried the brave astronauts aloft, was loaded with supplies for the long trip to the stars. The space officials knew that the crew would need plenty of food and water if they were to survive their long and dangerous mission. What the officials did not know, however, was that there were stowaways on board. Not that they especially wanted to be there. They had drifted in through the airlock and sat perched on the walls and instrument panels, gazing out at the flashing lights through multifaceted eyes. Their thin but powerful wings were folded back against their iridescent blue bodies, much as yours are now, my young friends. For you see, the stowaways were common houseflies, still found on the planet Earth. We owe these small creatures a great debt, for it is from these first small space travelers that we have all descended. They are our ancestors. This, fellow Yar warriors, is the great secret of our sacred past. Once the ship was sealed, the flies were trapped inside. Soon, the countdown was underway.
14, 13.
The computers handled the final moments, and soon the fusion generators were glowing white-hot. With a graceful spiraling motion, the great ship roared up and away from the launch pad. It raced at ever-increasing speed through the Earth's atmosphere and into the inky blackness of deep space. The astronauts and the flies were on their way to the stars. The first few days of the trip passed smoothly. Then suddenly, without warning, a strange formation appeared in the ship's path. The huge ship hurled headlong into the glowing force field and was rocked by a series of gigantic explosions. The spaceship was knocked off course and careened helplessly through space. Soon it crashed with a massive explosion. Right here in our own Razak solar system. Sadly, the entire crew was lost in the crash. But there were survivors. The flies. Days later, when the cloud of radioactive dust finally settled, the flies emerged from the charred rubble of the spacecraft. They stretched their wings and felt a surge of strange new power. Through some miracle of genetic fusion, they had been transformed from lowly houseflies into amazing new creatures, forever to be known as Yars. The powers that we Yars possess are truly amazing. We can fly, unaided by rockets, through outer space and from planet to planet. Perhaps the most amazing power of all is our ability to devour any substance, even metal or solid rock, and convert it into energy missiles so powerful they can vaporize anything in their path. With such fantastic powers, we Yars could have become a formidable enemy for almost any creature in the universe. But this is not the Yar way. We are, and have always been, a peace-loving race. We used our powers to build, from the ashes of our creation, a magnificent new civilization. We constructed beautiful cities across the surface of our planet. Soon we populated the third, fourth, and fifth planets of the Razak solar system. There we lived in peace and harmony with the rest of the universe. But although we love peace, we Yars are not fools. We know that there are forces in the universe which are not so benevolent. We have seen in our travels from planet to planet the darker side of life. Unfortunately, there are races in this universe which seek to control and destroy. One such evil force is our mortal enemy, the Quotile. In order to protect our peaceful worlds, our most brilliant scientists and engineers designed a fantastic new weapon, the invisible Zorlon Cannon. The Zorlon Cannon is capable of firing a pulsating fireball, which can destroy everything in its path. But, alas, before we were able to perfect the cannon, we were attacked by the evil Quotile. They came without warning, and in a matter of moments, they had destroyed our planet 4, killing everything and everyone. In a fraction of a second, the Quotile had wiped out 1/3 of the civilization we had worked so long and hard to build. All that was left was the radioactive cloud, now known as the neutral zone. This brutal attack changed forever the nature and course of Yar civilization. Every fiber of our being cried out for revenge. We will drive the Quotile from our midst. That is why, brave warriors, you are here at the Armament Center. Soon you will risk your lives and fly into battle as so many other Yar warriors have done before you. Some of you will never return. This risk we know and take willingly. It is for the good of the entire universe that the Quotile be destroyed. Revenge is not enough, for alone it is a selfish motive. We Yar seek not only the satisfaction of revenge, but also to protect the rest of the peace-loving universe from the ever-growing threat of Quotile domination. What they have done must never be allowed to happen again. We will fight to the last Yar to ensure peace for future generations all across this wide universe. This is true revenge. This is Yars Revenge. The rest, brave warriors, is up to you.
Shelter in the neutral zone.
Yars Revenge.
Got to find the Zorlon Cannon.
Yars Revenge.
Try to rid the Quotile.
Yars Revenge.
Got to break the Quotile shield.
Yars
Look out, while here comes the sword.
Yars Revenge.
Here comes the destroyer missile.
Yars Revenge.
Don't you touch the Quotile.
Yars Revenge.
you want to get it right.
Yars Revenge.
Yars Revenge. Yars Revenge. Yars Revenge. Yars Revenge. Shelter in the neutral zone.
Yars Revenge.
Got to fight the Zorlon cannon.
Yars Revenge.
Right beneath the quotile.
Yars Revenge.
Got to break the quota shield.
Yars Revenge.
Look out now, here comes the squirrel.
Yars Revenge.
Here comes the destroyer missile.
Yars Revenge.
Got to touch the quotile.
Yars Revenge.
If you want to get it right.
Yars Revenge.
Shelter in the neutral zone.
Yars Revenge.
Got to fight the Zorlon cannon.
Yars Revenge.
Right beneath the quotile.
Yars Revenge.
Got to break the quota shield.
Yars Revenge.
Look out now, here comes the squirrel.
Yars Revenge.
Here comes the destroyer missile.
Yars Revenge.
Got to touch the quotile.
Yars Revenge.
If you want to get it right.
Yars Revenge.
Got to break the quota shield.
Yars Revenge.
Right to make the quotile.
Yars Revenge.
Got to fight the Zorlon cannon.
Yars Revenge.
Now, Yar warriors, it is time you learned the secret battle plan we have developed to fight our enemy. The quotile is based on the moon of the planet F on the far side of the neutral zone. Their base is protected by a thick shield of energy made up of cosmic cells. Like the cowards that they are, the quotile hide behind this shield for protection. From this position of relative safety, they fire destroyer missiles and massive balls of deadly energy called swirls. When we are under attack, we can protect ourselves by retreating into the neutral zone. Once inside the zone, we are safe from the destroyer missiles. But we pay a heavy price for this refuge. Inside the zone, we cannot communicate with our base, nor can we fire upon the enemy. And we are not safe from the swirls. They are deadly anywhere. Once you have been outfitted as warriors, you will begin your mission. You must fly through the neutral zone and attack the enemy. You must try and break your way through the quotile shield by firing energy missiles at it, or by devouring the cosmic cells. Once you have cleared an opening in the shield, the Zorlon cannon can be used to attempt to destroy the enemy. Although the cannon is powerful, it is also very dangerous. To summon the cannon, you must devour a number of cosmic cells, or touch the dreaded quotile. Once you have accomplished this first important step, you can signal the base to prepare to fire the Zorlon cannon. The cannon will fire its missile in a horizontal line with your flight course. To aim the cannon, line yourself up with the quotile. Then communicate back to the base that you are ready to open fire. But here is the most important thing of all. You must fly out of the way as quickly as possible as soon as the Zorlon cannon has been fired. Otherwise, it will always strike you before it can hit the quotile. To be struck by the Zorlon cannon spells certain death. It will not be an easy task, my brave young friends. The enemy is tricky and dangerous. It will take all your skill and training to defeat him. You will attack tomorrow at sunrise. So prepare yourselves for battle. It is almost time for Yars Revenge. Later that day, a young Yar warrior returned home to say goodbye to his parents. Although he was brave, he was also aware of the risks involved in such a dangerous mission. He knew he might never see his family again.
Well, my son, I want you to know how very proud we all are of you. Doesn't he look handsome in his uniform, Father?
If only I were younger, I would fight alongside you. But I am an elder now, and these old wings are stiff and brittle. I'm afraid I wouldn't be much of a warrior.
Father Yar reached over and grasped his young son's hand.
Be careful and brave, and the victory shall be yours.
Mother and father waved goodbye as their young son flew back towards the armament center.
Goodbye!
Goodbye,
my
son.
son! Oh, dear. He can't hear us.
Whispered Mother Yar as she wiped a tear from the corner of her huge, luminous eye. They watched in silence as their son disappeared up into the clouds and was gone. The following day, as the Razak sun was just breaking over the low blue hills on the horizon, the Yar scouts prepared for battle. They would depart one at a time and attack the Quotile. A cheer rose up from the crowd as Yar Scout number 1 took off. With a loud buzzing sound, he soared off into the morning sky. Up and up he flew, through the thin atmosphere and out into the endless darkness of space. Up ahead, glowing in a rainbow of glorious colors, he could see the neutral zone. He flew inside the zone and paused for a moment. Off to his left, on the moon of Ep, he could see his target. There, protected by the constantly shifting red shield, waited the Quotile. Fearlessly, he began the attack. He raced down through space and began firing energy missiles at the shield. As they struck their target, chunks of the shield began to vaporize and disappear. The Yar scout had dissolved a large hole in the shield when suddenly, without warning, a destroyer missile roared towards him. He tried desperately to fly out of the path of the deadly projectile, but it was too late. The missile struck him in a direct hit, and in an instant, he was vaporized into nothingness. In the fraction of a second before his destruction, he glanced down at the Quotile shield and saw that his death had not been in vain. He had succeeded in puncturing a large hole in the shield. This would make Scout number 2's job a little easier. With the knowledge of a job well done, he was content, and his last moment was a happy one. Scout number 2 had watched helplessly as his friend had been shot down. He was much more cautious as he flew through the neutral zone and dive-bombed towards the Quotile shield. He fired a barrage of energy missiles, and soon he shot and devoured a gaping hole in the Quotile shield. Suddenly, out of the corner of his oversized eye, he saw a destroyer missile thundering towards him. In an instant, he retreated back into the safety of the neutral zone. As he gazed down through the hole he had made in the shield, he saw an amazing sight. The Quotile was changing colors rapidly. Then, faster than the beating of a wing, the Quotile was transformed into a swirl. The swirl rocketed off into space and headed straight towards Scout number 2, deep inside the neutral zone. The Yar scout tried to dodge the swirl, but it struck him, and he too perished. But not before he had inflicted grave damage to the shield. Each scout's work made the job of the next warrior that much easier, and so the ultimate sacrifice seemed worth the price. Scout number 3 was determined not to make the same mistakes as his predecessors. He could see a clear path through the Quotile shield, and he flew at top speed towards this opening. By now, the Quotile had grown angry and was firing an endless flow of destroyer missiles and swirls. Dodging them all with incredible skill, the Yars scout flew fast and low across the lunar surface. In the blinking of an eye, he darted through the hole in the shield, and with a combination of exhilaration and profound disgust, he brushed across the surface of the Quotile. The Quotile flashed a myriad of colors in fury. Now that the scout had touched the Quotile, he had the power to summon the Zorlon cannon. He flashed a signal back to his home base, and in an instant, the powerful weapon appeared, threateningly, on the far side of the neutral zone. Using himself as a guidance target, he signaled his fellow warriors, and with a thunderous roar, the Zorlon cannon was fired. The pulsating fireball emitted by the deadly weapon rumbled through the darkness of space towards the Quotile enemy. But the scout had made a fatal error. He had failed to correctly estimate the lightning speed of the cannon fireball and was unable to dodge the projectile. It struck him in mid-flight, and in a millisecond, he was vaporized by his own weapon. Now, it was up to Scout number 4, the last scout in his squadron, to make sure his fellow warriors had not given up their lives in vain. He knew he had to succeed. Heroically, he flew through the neutral zone without stopping. With amazing speed, he outmaneuvered both destroyer missiles and swirls as he hammered away at the remaining sections of the Quotile shield. He buzzed low over the craggy mountains that surrounded the Quotile fort and brushed his wings across the surface of the Quotile. As soon as he made physical contact with the enemy, he felt a surge of power that told him he could now call on the Zorlon cannon to help him in his fight. He flashed his message back home, and momentarily, the weapon was in place. The fearless scout shot back and forth across the sky in synchronous motion with the Quotile. He knew that in a few seconds, the Quotile would begin changing colors and transform itself into a swirl. At this close a range, it would be difficult to avoid being struck and destroyed. It was now or never. With split-second timing, he communicated back to his fellow warriors and fired the Zorlon cannon. The mighty weapon burst into action, hurling a powerful fireball out into space. The fireball crashed through the neutral zone and rushed with deadly accuracy towards the Yars scout and the Quotile. The pulsating flame was so near that the Yar warrior could feel its heat on his wings. Then, faster than sight itself, the agile young Yar darted out of the path. The Zorlon cannon scored a direct hit as it crashed directly into the Quotile. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. All around him, the universe flashed in a rainbow of colors. Then, instantaneously, and with awesome force, the Quotile exploded. The young Yar scout gazed on in wide-eyed disbelief. He had done it. He had destroyed the Quotile.